wait another moments until the last people trickle in. Welcome, Andrea. Also, so you're welcome if you want to um leave your camera on, you can turn it off, you can come in and out. Of course, it's always so nice to see the people's faces. It helps us to understand that there's not enemies on the other side of these laptops, but real people, normal people, friendly people here to practice together. Um, I will just see that I can pin my screen. Uh, but for now, I would like everyone just to go on the gallery view. So if you see in the top right corner, there's a little, if you click view and then on gallery, in the iPhone, I think you need to swipe to the right, just so that you can see everyone's faces here. And just to have a look around at who is here today. Maybe some familiar, maybe unfamiliar. All different people, different backgrounds, different hair, facial hair. Amazing. And maybe just pick one person that you feel mm, has a similar vibe to you, has a similar energy to you. Someone who you feel, oh, this person I feel comfortable with, right? Pick one person you feel comfortable with and just have a look at them and maybe just give them a smile. Great. Wonderful. The shy smile starts turning into a genuine smile. Beautiful. Okay, good. So I will just share the run through of the call. So this is actually the first of its kind, a kind of community call for Vipassana at home. So it's very exciting. Um, I do have a little baby in the room behind the screen with my partner, Sandra. The baby's 2 weeks old. And yeah, if he starts kind of complaining or something, she will just leave the room. But she really wanted to take part in this call and listen also. Sandra, you want to say anything?
Hello, nice to be here.
Okay. Um, yeah, so we will start with a practice. So we're going to start with a meditation practice. We're going to start in a kind of more traditional meditation of sitting practice of Vipassana. And then we're going to transition to something a little bit more moving in the end. And I'll ask you to start exploring your environment a little bit. Um, it will go for 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes. Let's see. And then after that, I will share a few words, and I've also prepared some diagrams, some slides um, about some of the more theoretical aspects of what I was sharing and things that you can maybe take into your life as well. And then after we will have some space for maybe discussion, maybe sharing, maybe questions. Let's see how we go. I'm also curious to try out this breakout rooms feature that I just installed on my Zoom, where we kind of form little groups and maybe we'll have a short discussion among smaller groups and come together but let's see how it goes. So I'm recording it. I feel it's nice to not keep these things secret. I will just have my face on the recording. There will be no other people's names. If you do speak, your your voice will be on the recording. I will cut this first part out, so you didn't know that, Maria. Um, yeah, if you do speak, your voice will be on the recording, but no names or no faces. And I will probably put it on the website, like kind of historical. community calls, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Yeah. Good. Okay. So we're going to move through 3 different states of awareness that I will talk about later as well. The first one is going to be exclusively us, me, my body, my mind, what's happening inside my internal experience. Then we're going to transition into a more open awareness where we will actually open the eyes and start to be aware also of the surroundings, but in stillness. And then we will move through a more flowing state where we also start to become more interactive with our environment.
Hey, Mark, quick question.
Yes.
Should we switch to speaker view or should just leave it at gallery the whole time?
Up to you. Up to you. I always like to feel that gallery, we're all sitting in a circle together. It's not all about me. Um, good. So get comfortable. Um, you can find whatever posture feels right for you today, right now, whether you're seated, whether you're in a chair, whether you're on a floor, on a cushion. See that you have the feet flat on the ground. Maybe you want to shift a little bit the weight to find kind of a balanced weight. So kind of shift the weight left buttock, right buttock, and find that place where there's even weight distribution left and right side. You might try shifting forward and backwards slightly to find that middle point. And in this first part, really to make a commitment to drop things on the outside, to drop the things that you've been planning, that you've been working on, that you've been trying to solve, trying to improve, or trying to get rid of. Just for some time to drop, to put down, to let go of putting energy towards anything on the outside. So allowing ourselves a little bit of space to start to come into ourselves, our internal experience, our sensory experience, our bodily experience. You might feel the feet on the floor or on the cushion or chair. You might invite the ankles to relax, the knees to relax. They don't need to do any work right now. You might invite the legs all the way up to the pelvis to soften, to melt. You might allow the organs inside to just release slightly. And any surrounding structures of the body, the belly, the lower back, you might allow these also just to soften a little bit more, to feel a little more space there, a little more space for the organs to rest, for the natural breath to emerge. And like a baby's belly, a baby breathes naturally into the belly, not because it's somehow trying to send the breath there, but simply because the belly is so nice and relaxed, soft. And the belly doesn't have to move outwards, doesn't have to move forward. It can also expand to the sides and even to the back, naturally, maybe very subtle. And you might also invite the rib cage to release. And allowing the arms to loosen, and the hands especially. We tend to be very busy with the hands, with the arms, constantly touching things, picking up things, typing things, doing things. So it's nice to consciously relax any residual sense of the arms, the hands, doing. And the breath flows naturally with ease and wherever it needs to go in the body. And the face, you can allow also the face to shed any mask, any trying to maintain some kind of specific form. Here we are just with our own internal experience. Here we are not seeking to calculate or think how we are perceived or how we are interacting with the world, but we are just allowing our inner experience to take precedence. The inner experience that is in big part the bodily sensations in the whole body, any feelings in the body, any movement in the body, any stillness in the body. And sit comfortably. You don't have to be perfectly still. There can be gentle micro movement or even adjustment. And you might just get this feeling, this hint of dropping, of what it's like to drop in, to drop a little bit more things you've been holding on to outside in the world. Maybe a gentle sense of also coming home to yourself, to your experience, to your breath, to your body. And if it feels good to you, you might take a deeper breath, a deeper inhale, and ride that exhale deeper into yourself. Allow that exhale that follows the inhale to take you deeper into yourself. And if there's any small part of you that is expecting something, needing something, wanting something, something else, you can tell this part, thank you. And you might invite this part to also relax, soften. And we are resting right here in our body. You might feel the body as a whole, You might feel different parts of the body from time to time. You might be more deeply in contact with the breath in the body. But most, if not all, of attention is within the framework of the body. And we welcome any experience here. We welcome anything that feels good or maybe not quite so good. We welcome, embrace fully the entire field of our bodily experience, of our internal experience. From the tips of the toes, through the ankles, through the knees, through the pelvis and the root of the spine, through the bottom part of the trunk, through the rib cage and the heart, from the fingertips, through the hands, through the wrists, through the elbows, through the arms, upper arms, shoulders, back, into the neck, throat, face, scalp, brain. And there's this real sense of inhabiting yourself fully, not being a stranger to your own bodily experience, inhabiting yourself fully. Noticing also a kind of spaciousness around the body, around the breath, a kind of quiet, a kind of silence. And let's start to open the attention and notice also here anything which might indicate there is an outside world. Any sounds, any, even with closed eyes, any visual, any light that you can see. And we might notice that these sounds kind of reveal space. They might reveal a space far away where something happens, or closer by, in front or in the back, to the left or to the right. and softly, gently, staying here in this state of presence. And we're not going to look at the screen or anything, but just at maybe a point in front of you, you can gently open the eyes and allow now the rich color, shape, texture, light of your visual field to enter. And there's this balanced sense of me, of I, of my body, of the sensations I'm inhabiting, my breath. And at the same time, there's this awareness, open awareness towards the space in front, the entire visual field, the space around revealed by different sounds. And just allowing everything here to be equal. So the point you are looking at is not more important than the point further to the left or right or behind you or above you or below you. In front is not more important than behind you. And there might be this real sense of expanding oneself, expanding yourself into the space around you. And you're not losing yourself into the space, you're still maintaining a healthy center, a healthy level of body awareness. But now you're open. Embracing, welcoming not only what's inside, but also what is around in the physical space, in your auditory space, even in your imaginary space. And without looking at the screen, you might also start to just be aware that you are not alone here. There's others. Just also welcoming the presence of this feeling of other, this feeling of other humans, other beings, other experiences. Allow that to be there as much as you allow your body to be here. In this balanced sense of me and the world. And we're going to continue our exploration by allowing the body to move. So we're not going to look at the screen yet. We just allow the body to move. If you need to, you can kind of just feel into the spine, Maybe you want to kind of move the head ever so slightly, or the fingers, or the hands, or the arms, or the feet. Maybe you want to squeeze the feet or the hands. You might also allow your gaze to roam more freely, to start to really take in that which is around you, to take in different objects, different textures. Maybe you notice some colors, some detail, some nuance that you never noticed before in this room. And we're going to take a few minutes here to actively explore your environment. And there's no right or wrong here. You can just follow continuously whatever your curiosity wants you to pick up, put down, have a closer look at, feel. And there's this animalistic curiosity, animal sense of just moving the body like a little, like a deer that is kind of exploring its environment and not going to the habitual things that you pick up or put down, but seeing if you can examine things that are new, unfamiliar, or familiar things in new ways. So your whole room is your oyster here. You might get up, you might have a look around, you might get low to the ground to examine the floor, the carpet. You might touch something and feel the texture, whether it's cold or hot. And at any point you can move on. You can lose interest and move on. Or at any point you can go deeper into something. You can examine more closely. You can hold, you can feel the weight of things. You can feel maybe the history of something. And there's this gentle curiosity about what's around you and about your own body in relation to what's around you. You can use all your senses, smelling, tasting even, touching, hearing, listening, seeing. If you're used to just interacting with one object with a normal sense, like just looking at it, see if you can also use the other senses to experience that object. There might be the sensation of infinite worlds opening up. Everywhere there's a whole world that is just waiting there for you to discover it. In every tiny object, every tiny detail, every tiny space in your room just contains, like a fractal, more and more richness. And there might be also the sense of just flowing, just continuing to flow, not holding on to anything, just allowing your curiosity to take you, and you are just right there where you are in that exploration. You might go really low to the ground. You might explore lying things from a different perspective, things from below or above. And slowly we allow this exploration to slow down, to find the last echoes, and we can meet once more together, maybe closing the eyes for a minute. Again dropping everything, and returning fully back to just me, just my body, the sensations, the breath, the heartbeat, the feet. Excellent. And taking a deep breath. Ah, so great. I'll give you a few seconds to arrive back. And you might still have this vision which sees more detail, this non-habitual vision. Okay. So I want to share a little bit about this framework that I just used. So I guided you through what I would broadly call three different attentional states. Three different states. The first state is a dropped state. And this is a framework which is very much inspired by Wendy Palmer, who's an embodiment teacher. So the first state is a dropped attention state. Basically, we're dropping everything on the outside. We say, okay, not right now. I can think about that later, tomorrow, whatever. There's always more problems, always more things to solve, right? So we drop it and we come fully into ourselves, a place of feeling more deeply in touch with ourselves, where we can feel resourced, where we feel more at home in the bodies, mainly in the breath. The second state is the state of more open attention. So we start to open the senses and our awareness of also the environment, what's around. So there's this more balanced sense of here's me, here's the center, here's my body, and now I'm open. Now I'm available, let's say. I'm not judgmental. I'm not saying this is better than that or it should be like that. I'm kind of allowing everything to be as it is, allowing the people to be here, allowing this glass to be over here as it is, even though it looks very dirty, allowing this plant to be there, allowing the baby to make its noises over there, just allowing it. Ideally, a state also of not being reactive. Ideally, a state of just being open without judging, without reacting to what is around, right? And the third state is a more active state. Um, and there's different depths, of course, of tasting it, but I hope could guide you a little bit into what I would call a flow state. A state where you are actively engaged in your environment, in a specific task, in a specific thing. In this case, it was the curiosity of exploring our sensory experience of our environment. You're active, you're seeing more possibilities and more options, you're following them, you're connected to yourself and what you need, what you want, you're open to what's around, you're following, and you're staying right there at the frontier of the present moment experience. Engaged, not disengaged, not dreaming, but staying right there, engaged. And of course, these states, dropped, open, and flow, we can experience at different depths. You might also have different access to these states than me. If you like music, maybe it's music. If you move, maybe it's movement. If you love talking, maybe it's talking. You lose yourself in that. Yes. So these states are what I would call states of being quite centered. You are quite centered, quite connected to yourself, quite aware of your experience, but there are different flavors here. So here, these diagrams are a little bit, it's kind of just my idea, know these diagrams, but maybe it means something to you, maybe not. Um, but the dropped state is one where, so the red part is more where the attention or awareness is uh, pulled, is focused on. The dropped is my body, my center. The periphery, not much. Open, aware of my center, of me, of my body, and also open towards the periphery. And the flow state, aware of myself, but very actively seeing possibilities and engaged continually with the environment and in whatever the environment is, right? So why is this important? Um, as we start to practicing meditation, we can start to become more aware of these states and actively move between them and also allow them to emerge more spontaneously. And so I'm going to a little bit talk through what might be some suboptimal states, some states we tend to go into if we don't have a practice, if we are not conscious, if we um, find ourselves overreactive or collapsing or freezing or very scattered, basically these off-center states, states where we don't feel center, where we don't feel connected to ourselves, what we need, what we want. Um, so the first one is a kind of reactive state where we are, the sensation of having this kind of tunnel vision, like you're so fixated and focused on just one thing, and you fail to see kind of what's around and what else is important, and you can't let go of that one thing. So it might be a thought, it might be a task, it might be a conflict with a person that you're having, a conversation that is so intense. And in that state, we tend to be contracted. We tend to be reactive, very much with the whole world is revolving around this one issue, and we cannot see more broadly. And we're not centered so much. And this tends to be more the sympathetic, overactive sympathetic nervous system. There's another one, which I called disembodied, or you could also call it dissociated. So you're not basically not aware of your body, not aware of your center. You're fully somewhere. Maybe you even feel you're floating somewhere in space, around, or in a thought, or in an overthinking pattern, in a thought pattern, in a loop. Um, it's a place where it's difficult to feel that we are empowered or that we can take action because we're not very connected to ourselves or what we actually want. We might also feel confused or um, like I don't really know what's going on. And it's okay also, these states, they arise from time to time in all of us, me included. That's why I can talk about these states, right? Because I know them. I'm not immune to these states. Um, Disembodied state, collapsed state. So the attention kind of collapses inside somewhere. You get lost. You collapse into yourself. You might feel also this inactiveness, or you might be collapsing into some story, into some thought pattern. You are not aware anymore of the environment. For example, sometimes when we talk, right? When we talk and I'm sharing something and I go so much into my own trip of sharing that thing and what it meant to me and I lose the awareness of, are people still present? Are people still aware? Is this still relevant? Is this still important to say? Is this good for me to say? And so we collapse. And the other state would be the scattered or fragmented, where you're jumping all over and not really quite sure of um, yeah, where is actually center, what you need, what you want, what's important here. Um, where am I? Really? And so I outlined these not to shame ourselves, not to say, oh my God, I'm always there, or but really more to name them. When we start to recognize and name them, we can start to come out of them more quickly. And we might live in these for some time also. It might be a more default state. But as we taste more centered state, we start to see also this contrast. Oh, I understand what it's like to feel centered. We all know this experience of what it feels like to feel centered, connected to ourselves. Like just now in the meditation. Um, One more thing I want to share here, I think that's important, is that the dropped centered state is like our home base. So from feeling any of these, maybe overly reactive or disembodied or something, we always first come back to a dropped state. So we drop whatever we think is important or whatever's outside there or whatever ideas, opinions, judgments we are orienting ourselves towards that are outside of us. And you come just to yourself. You feel yourself, you feel the feet on the ground. Maybe you take a deep breath. No, colloquially, we always say, okay, maybe we just need to take a deep breath. Take a pause. Take a pause, right? So this is basically dropping everything, taking a pause, feeling yourself. From there, again, you can open up more. Flow state isn't really something that we can make happen. It kind of happens to us. As soon as we try to make flow state happen, we usually create some separation. But starts to arise also. So you might feel yourself a little bit more familiar with one of these centered states. Oh, I feel in general I'm more open, or I feel in general I'm more dropped. For me personally, having practiced a lot of Vipassana, I always tend to go to this dropped state as a default. And I'm personally working more with actually opening attention, seeing what's around. You might also feel you are any one of these a bit more, the off-center state. Okay. I think at this point, yes. Okay, Kizere, you have a general question you want to share?
Yeah, specifically to the centered states.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm, practicing the Vipassana, the meditations, and so for me, it's the breath that I'm following usually. Um, and I think I was a little bit more in the scattered state as you were going through the initial part. So I'm just trying to figure out if it's the same mechanism that you're talking about arriving into the drop state as your own, meditations, the ones that you sent out, where kind of just um, in a sense noting and labeling and then dropping back to experience. Is that the same thing? Is the same mechanism as what you're talking about? Just for my clarity.
Yes, yes. So the noting technique would be a way to, yeah, stay connected to center, to stay connected to somewhere in the body, the rising, falling of the breath, to label what your mind starts grasping onto and going after the whole time, and to keep dropping it. Actually, every time we label something, we kind of can
Yeah.
drop that. And then also as you progress, then and you can label and notice things quicker before they take you as far, then you're just staying in that dropped state. And actually within the dropped state, it's not that you are not thinking or something. I don't want you to think that drop state means there's an absence of thought. There are thoughts, there's feelings, there's sensations arising the whole time, but they are, let's say, not dragging you, and you're kind of getting
Yeah.
dragged on the floor behind them
Yeah.
for
It's like a
some
broader
reason.
presence is being cultivated, like a broader state.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Maria.
Could you please give a couple of examples of what this embodiment is?
Right.
Mm.
Um, yeah, this embodiment would be a kind of maybe the feeling like someone asks you a really difficult question and you kind of freeze and you're thinking intensively somewhere, but your body feels like it cannot put into action what is yeah, what your mind is doing. Usually we feel the mind there is, yeah, running faster and running away, and there's this disconnection between body and mind. And usually also not, the mind is not connected to what's happening around. This would be, yeah. Or it can also be like a response towards very strong emotions or feelings, no, a kind of dissociation. For me personally, in my experience, this happens when there's a very strong emotion I'm confronted with and I don't know how to deal with, and I'm overwhelmed. There's a right. And maybe it takes then like, okay, I need to go for a walk or something to I need to feel myself again, or I need to move a little bit or stretch a bit my body or something to, okay, here's me, and actually here's what's important to me. Then I start to feel more able to take action. So I'm sure there's more little thoughts around, but I would love to create little breakout rooms now to test this function also. So I think maybe I will do groups of 3, and we're just gonna take about 6 minutes, so 2 minutes each, to share, yeah, which of these centered states feels more familiar to you, like your default, and which of these off-center states feels familiar to you. Like, oh, when I was talking about scattered, it's like, okay, that's completely me. I get super, or I get disembodied, or whatever it is. And of course, you can share some extra words with each other. Um, so how to do this? Breakout sessions. How many people? 17. So I'm going to put 16 divided by 3. It's about 5. Okay, let's see.
Da ist er wieder. Oh, ich bin laut.
Oh, you had a German group.
No, not really. But I'm used to talk German.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. If you need to take a quick stretch or something, you can really imagine that we are sitting back down into a different table with everyone. Excellent. Good. Hope you had some nice exchanges. Maybe just to write in the chat something you learned about yourself. Anyone wants to share something in the chat? What did you learn about yourself? More accurate language about particular states. Nothing new. Recognizable shifts in awareness. Community is good. Recognizing reactivity. Learning the states that we move between reactive or scattered. Support. Common challenges. Recognizing we each use the method of coming back to the grounded state and could list times we were in other states. Excellent. Great. So what's important here is how to come back, how to get centered again. Yeah, and we all probably have our own little ways we already do that. So maybe and everyone was just wants to share a little writing in the chat. What's one way you use to reconnect, to get grounded to? We could call it centering ourselves, reestablishing awareness. What's your personal? The breath. noting what's going on, the breath, to close the eyes. Communicating, right? Identify the feeling and the sensation. Very Vipassana-like. Good student. The breath and the feet. Excellent. Any other techniques out there? I also like looking at nature. Just taking a moment to look at a tree. The tree doesn't have those problems. Thinking is just thinking. Right. So also an element of the group here, co-regulation. So sometimes so in the group we co-regulate. So we look at someone else. Some of us do this more than others, but we look at someone else, we look at a friend, we look, if there's a group, we look at a person that we are more familiar with, more comfortable with. Helps to co-regulate ourselves. And yeah, another few methods. This is kind of called centering, but another few methods that are out there are um, asking yourself what's important here. What's important here? Okay, you reconnect with something more essential. Um, there's always an element of awareness, body awareness. It's good. Touching an object, feeling a texture. Okay, ground you in the physical reality, ground you in a sensation also. Um, great, great. So I like this quote. It is sharing here. It's not that I don't get off center, it's that I can return so quickly most people don't notice. Right? It's not that I don't get off center, it's that I return so quickly most people don't notice. So it's not somehow about magically staying in these flow states, in this drop state, in this open state. Of course, we can become more established, more stable in a certain attentional state with practice, with discipline, with the right environment, also right support. But the reality is we go into this like milliseconds at a time also. The whole time these states are arising, the whole time there's, of course, the attention is scattered at times. There's things going on, there's many things going on. We go momentarily into a kind of disembodiment when we go fully into that dream, into that thought. We have reactions arising. But the key here is we try to notice, And so we all, since you're in this call, we're all somehow in this training of um, developing mindfulness, developing awareness. So this is kind of developing more the embodied mindfulness, the awareness of my body, sensations, more continuously to create an anchor also, a reference point. And also the meta-awareness. If you're practicing something like noting, or if you're practicing just recognizing when you're drifting off into your dreams, into your trips, into our illusions. This is also a kind of meta-awareness to see what's going on, to see when we go. Okay. Good. Is there here any questions or comments or sharing that also open for the microphone that you want to share broadly in the group?
Do you plan to do this regularly?
Once a month, every last Sunday of the month, I've put as my goal. Yes. You want me to do it regularly?
Yes, for sure. Even more would be nice. But I just
Maybe.
because for me, it's even this is a practice. Like even listening to you, and I've remembered that of course the practice was a practice, but just I put my phone off and I put it on the other side of the room, even though my brain was just trying to listen to you because it's your tones are really nice and everything, and yet my mind wants to wander, and so it's just like really nice to be able to practice while listening as well, and yeah, it gives me um more energy overall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When we're doing it in a group with a community, there's more energy. There's less feeling I'm alone with this thing that I'm doing, and it's very strange, and everyone
Yeah,
around doesn't talk about things.
groundedness. I feel very grounded.
Great. Yeah, these calls are a fantastic way to. The Zoom call is easier than real life now because we have a boundary, also a separation where you can resource. I do it all the time in these calls. I lose it a little bit. Okay, come more to the body. What else? What else wants to be expressed or asked or shared?
Hi. Will you be covering different subjects for each call?
Yes, yes. I will think of it a few days before.
Okay.
So I haven't planned all, but whatever inspires me for
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to share, Raimar, that this whole thing was very clear, and I feel really inspired and energized. And I really appreciate the clear way in which you explain things. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad.
One thing that I've been kind of struggling with trying to do the unguided meditations, um, trying to figure out like, so you're supposed to do like momentary concentration. So like you soak into something for a moment and then you drop it and move on to the next thing.
Right, yeah.
But then I think you also eventually want to see like patterns between things. And I guess I'm just not entirely sure. I feel like it's hard to see patterns and connect things if you're just like, taking these little snippets and like, I guess doing the momentary concentration, only focusing for a moment and then completely letting it go. Like, how do you see the patterns if you're not like thinking about the last thing that you experienced? Or maybe, 2 moments ago, like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I had a really hard time explaining that, but
No, it makes complete sense. Yeah, so maybe I'm not quite sure where the notion of the seeing the patterns comes from, but to maybe share something like it's not to intellectually know a pattern, like when this happens. It's more to the in Vipassana meditation, the patterns we are trying to see are deep rooted patterns, which are almost um, ubiquitous for all experience or things. So really, it's for example the pattern of clinging, right? The mind that clings. And it's not so much about the actual thing that we cling to, whether it's that thought, whether it's that image, whether it's that sound. It's much more recognizing that feeling, that sensation of clinging happens. Right? And so when we are noting and soaking into something, you want to feel it clearly. Um, and when we just feel it clearly, we automatically starting to release this uh, clinging mind, because the clinging mind is not seeing that thing clearly. The clinging mind is ascribing reality to that image, to that thought, and believes it. And when we just see thinking as thinking, hearing as hearing, and also start releasing. And on another perspective, there is also something more intuitive, let's say, about the process of starting to see yourself, like a feeling. It's not, you don't need to know intellectually, oh, I shouldn't do that or something. Of course, you might use that level as well, but more like a feeling, like, here's something where I have to be like careful, because there's an intuitive knowing of what actions, what thoughts lead to your suffering, or what actions, what thoughts lead to more harmful behavior, not because you've thought it through, but because there's a feeling there that something's not quite, something's amiss here. It's like,
Okay. So the wisdom comes more like on the subconscious level
precisely.
almost. Like you're not, yeah. Okay. I think that makes sense.
And
So is there like an aha moment at some point where you're just like, oh, like I'm starting to like understand how all these things are connected, or does it stay like just subconscious?
little aha moments here and there. I would say don't expect nothing big, but there will be little aha moments, and I think you probably already had them, but maybe you're looking for something bigger. Um,
Right.
and there's the gradual accumulation of these moments. And actually, every time you release something in the mind, every time you release something is already a little aha moment. It's a little moment of, oh, that dream is not something I have to chase, or that reality is not something I have to collapse into, not something I have to ascribe to. That's actually already a little aha moment. And there might be bigger ones, of course, if you have a more strong trip, emotional trip also. You realize, oh, it's just this. It's just this thinking. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. I just have to trust it.
Yes,
I always
trust.
want to like intellectually connect, but
Yeah,
yeah, what you're saying makes sense. It's like that's not really the point. Like the intellectual understanding is not really the point, right? Like it's more just like feeling it, like intuition, like you said. Yeah.
yeah, a deeper knowing. And from there, thoughts arise. From there, the intellectual understanding arises. Actually, feel the the intellectual follows the feeling,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
not the other way around.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we can broaden the questions. We have another few minutes. And then if there's anything else more broadly, welcome. Also,
How is fatherhood so far?
wow, it's like embracing the chaos. It's like no stability in routine, in wake up, in meditation time, in movement time, in even in the tasks, like yeah, sometimes I have to. It's more about cooking, cleaning, changing diapers, but it's like yeah, just kind of I keep surrendering my ideas of how I want it to be and how what I want to use this hour for because there's some situation or something that needs my attention, and then it's like okay, I do that, and then somehow there's more fluidity um and there's also yeah, I also feel a very strong sense of like energy because I feel I'm moving not just for myself anymore, but I'm really being moved by something more around, like being moved by the baby's needs, um, to yeah, to get up like in the night and change diapers. The first few days I was so groggy waking up in the night, but somehow now my system has learned, okay, I can just get up, okay, a few seconds later I'm wide awake and then change diapers, bring back to the mama, bring back to the nipple, the baby, and then fall asleep again within like 2 minutes, which is something that I wouldn't have thought before. I would have thought, oh, it will take me time to fall asleep or something. Um, yeah, and I think I mean, with all these things I was sharing about dropped and open and being centered, and for me, has been like feels like a training boot camp because exactly this situations like it's middle of the night, he starts complaining, I'm in the bathroom, like changing his diapers, and I'm groggy and okay, I need to take a deep breath. I need to feel my feet, and then I can take more clear action. And there's such an immediate feedback loop for how centered, how regulated I am myself. Because if I'm not, and I start moving more hectically and more stressed, and I'm not so attentive to the baby and his body, and he starts complaining, no, and or also if he's on my chest or something, and we're walking, I become more agitated and baby starts becoming more agitated because it's so deeply connected to my own state. So it's like this continuous feedback loop and reminder like stay regulated, stay centered. Um, and yeah, it's intense, but very, very beautiful. Also, like there's so much cuteness in those cheeks and in those like the feet, and just want to like eat him up. um, yeah, yeah. I would say that's a few impressions. I was hoping actually that he would wake up uh, so I can show him, but he's still fast asleep on the mama on the mama's belly. Um, but maybe next time. Or maybe, you know what, I'm just going to go around. Hey, is it okay if I come around the corner?
Oh. Oh.
Just
Ma-
beautiful. Hmm. Hey, buddy.
He's in a drop state.
Yeah.
He's fully dropped.
Oh, he looks long.
Yeah, he's very long. He was 54 centimeters.
Oh my
And
goodness.
the midwife also was like surprised. Oh, that came out of you. Like both of you are so petite. Um,
Ah.
Drop
yeah,
state joke was top notch. Whoever said that.
he's a master.
Also is a master of disassociating.
Yeah, also this feeling of actually getting Sandra was just sharing this feeling, getting absorbed in the baby, like I lose the sense of myself because it's just so cute to watch him forget about myself. I'm just absorbed in this baby. Um, anyway, let us close it there. Thank you so much, friends, for being here. It's good to have a community. It's good to meet, share. Thank you all for showing up for your practice, for learning, for each other, for yourself. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
all.